Hey, let me join the meeting real quick so I get the flag up for the pledge. This will take 2 seconds.
Marty's having some technical difficulties. I'm on the phone with him right now.
Okay, we'll give him a minute.
Joe, you look too serious.
Who does?
Who, me?
Yeah, you, Joe.
No, I'm trying to split the screen.
Ah,
I have to use 2 screens because it's just easier.
yeah, I got 2 here. I got my computer, my wife's computer here. So,
I'm envious. I have my cell phone.
Well, don't be too obvious because then I have
figured
to have
you would
2
have-
separate glasses too. One to read, one to look at the computer.
Yeah.
The
Why don't
last
you
Chiefs
have a massive
meeting,
HP computer?
the last Chiefs meeting that happened, I had the computer froze, and so I called in, and then it unfroze, so I had an echo going on because I was trying to cell phone, and they use Teams, so they booted me out of one.
Joe, did you get my email regarding that grant, that Lowe's grant?
When would that have been?
Last week?
Thursday.
I don't think I got an email on Lowe's grant unless it was it tacked onto another one of the emails that we had going back and forth.
Maybe. I can send it again.
Yeah, that would be good. I don't think I saw it. Sorry.
Okay, Marty has shut down his computer and he's trying to reboot it. So he's going to join us when he can. And I sent Paul Maroney down there to see if he could assist him. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably get another phone call. So do we want to wait another minute or we want to go ahead and start?
let's start.
Matt, you could hop on the dirt bike and go down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. My dirt bike's in pieces though,
Why?
because I'm having the frame powder coated by the guy that used to be here in Mantua. He's up in Freedom now.
Darius floor.
Yeah. The engine's on the basement floor, the whole shop.
You're
Speaking
supposed
of,
to do that when there's snow on the ground, not when it's 60 degrees and it's
Yeah,
riding
right.
time.
I
I
know,
got
I'm
back
like-
from a ride.
I know I'm like a month behind. This was supposed to be in February. And it's just the way it shook out.
my son's been watching, he does all that supercross stuff. So he's been watching those on Saturdays. And there's a guy who is in the, he's not like the top. He's like 13th or something nationally. And he's rides out in like out on the west, like Medina. Well, I was watching it with my son last week and I'm like, holy smokes, there was a guy, and I don't remember his name, and it's because they tell you city and state. I mean, sometimes people from like Australia. There's one from it says Mantua, Ohio.
Yeah.
I go,
David Hand.
oh yeah. I was like, holy cow,
Yeah.
that is so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, David Hand was awesome. Him and his dad both. Yeah. Yeah, they were really good.
Okay,
Awesome.
Michelle, are we live now?
Yep, let's
Yes.
go.
You said yes?
Yes, you are.
Okay, we'll call this March 16th, 2021 meeting to order at 6:35. Roll call, please, Jenny.
Matt,
Yes, here.
Ben,
Here,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Heather,
Here.
and Marty's on his way.
Yes. I'm sorry, I skipped over a moment of silence. If we could do a moment of silence for John Stoneberg, Nancy Schubert, Olga Faluka, Danny Lowe, and Sandra Taylor. Okay, we'll move on. Motion to accept the February 16th regular council meeting minutes. Are
So
there any
moved.
changes?
No changes here. I'm good.
Nope. I'll second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start with the mayor's report. We have two special event forms. One is for the youth baseball and softball league at Bookert Park. That would be the north side field from March 31st till October 10th. They're going to be giving me a schedule as soon as they have it, and they have included their insurance. Motion to approve that one.
so moved.
Second.
Okay,
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
okay, the next one is from the sub shop. And they want to hold a RIP burn off on June 19th from 9 a.m. until they're not sure when. They intend to keep it in the green space. They're going to try and get vendors from the businesses here in town. They're going to be charging probably $2 per bone. They're asking for judges, so if any of you would like, I need to get 2 judges for them. If any of you would like to be a judge that day for the ribs, they are going to contain it all within the green space. There will be no alcohol, and he's still checking on what kind of food permits he needs to get from the health department. And he has not provided insurance yet. And they will follow all COVID restrictions.
Sounds like
I
fun.
think it's a great idea, but until he supplies insurance, I don't think we should do anything with it.
I agree.
Okay, so I think that since we're aware of it now, it keeps him in the 30-day time frame of applying. So I will get further information from him, and we could approve it next month when it's just 60 days. Is that fine with everybody?
And Mayor, is that green space owned by the Benners and Hummel or?
Yes, they're gonna have to show permission from Benner and Hummel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of little details.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's good with it, I'm good with it, but
Yeah.
I think we need to wait for the paperwork
I
personally.
agree.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sounds good though.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, the next thing is, excuse me, because Paula had resigned and we appointed Ben as the regional planning person, when I called regional planning to say our alternate was going to be taking over, we had 2 little issues. when we submitted to them the form back in January, we put down that we had no alternate appointed. So we have to officially appoint Ben tonight for regional planning and also appoint someone to be the alternate.
Well, I will make a motion to appoint Ben if we need to do that.
I'll second Ben.
Marty. I'm sorry, Marty's not here. Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Scott,
Heather.
Yes.
Ben.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear Scott.
I don't
Oh,
think
yes.
we answered you.
Oh, okay. And Ben and Heather both said yes.
What about an alternate? Who would like to volunteer to be the alternate for that? They meet on the, actually, this is the day that they usually meet at 4:30. Are they doing those at Zoom meetings? Ben, do you know? Did you
Yeah,
go
they
today?
are. So
I'm sorry?
far,
What was that, Ben?
I said they are zooming right now. And they've moved to the administrative building. You know, I've been going down there for 11 years.
So I
Well, I
have
would
no,
volunteer, but 4:30 is a little too early for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what my schedule will be. It will be changing, so I can't.
It's really hard at 4:30 to get there because I did it for like 10 years before I retired. I had to take off work for an hour to get there in time. So it almost needs to be someone that's retired or has got the time to get there.
so should we just submit without an alternate again?
Probably so, unless you can find, unless the only person that's retired I know of up here is Marty. And I'm sure he don't want to go.
Okay. So we already voted on that. Moving on to the mowing contract. I had sent everything to Jenny and she included it in your packet. The only price that changed was the mowing at the cemetery. And if you look at last year's contract, when they were only supposed to, it had said last year, weed eating as needed, and we had wanted them to do more weed eating. And so he has included in his price to weed eat every week. It takes him about 6 hours with extra people helping him to weed eat that whole cemetery. And he was as you can see, we sent emails to the other people, Grizzly, TTR, and Buckeye, and none of them responded by February 1st. So is everybody fine with going with Scotland Yards?
I have one question. Last year we had an issue at the park where the park wasn't getting weed eated around the equipment. Is that been addressed with this?
Yes.
Because it still says as needed. Did it not say that before?
It's always said as needed. I'll let him know to keep a closer eye on it.
Because remember we had that in planning where it was an issue. So I just want to. Okay, that's my only question.
Okay, motion to approve this contract.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is Urban Growers. We got a quote from Urban Growers for the cemetery. It's changed 3 times since we had the cemetery meeting. The latest quote from them is, excuse me, it shows $808.49. Subtract 50, I mean, that's what that's going to be for him. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It's gonna be $791.99, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of the new agreement for that.
Is this to put flowers and stuff on the graves?
Yes,
Okay.
and doing all the errands. I don't think I need a motion on that one. Do I, Michelle? So I'm not gonna submit the street flowers yet, and I'll explain that later. And then because of the changes on the cemetery, I'm just gonna give you a total today, and I will email it all out to you with the flower thing, so I can send this to Mr. Lombardi tomorrow. For urban growers, we're gonna submit $791.99, subtracting $50 that the cemetery board feels that we would be spending on the Coit plot, that we set up that money for them on a open PO. Scotland Yard would be $14,250, the fourth of 5 truck payments for $4,000. And the water bills for up there, 6 months in the summer, the bill should estimate about $371.22. The summer months when we're just paying the surcharge would be $225.84. And the shut off fee of $50 to turn on and shut off the water. So it comes to a total of $19,639.50. I'm sorry, 05. 19,639.05.
And that all goes to see if you can get that
That's all
back.
going to the trust.
Okay.
Motion to move this forward to the trust.
So move.
Second,
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes,
Heather.
Yes.
I see Marty now. Can he hear us?
Marty, can you hear us?
Uh, Nope. 'Cause he's not all the way in yet.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully soon.
Okay, moving on. You also had in your packet the Manaway Village Community Electric Aggregation Notification. Those letters will be going out on March 22nd. You'll see from the last time that we did it, we're doing a contract that ends in May of 2025, even though it says term ends at 2024. And the reason that is because every 4 years they have to send out a new letter. So there will still be 1 year left at the end of this. We were able to drop the residents' electric aggregate prices from $4.95 a kilowatt. Is that kilowatts? That's how that is, to $4.66. So that was a pretty good deal. So if you have any residents call you, or when you get your letter for the opt-out, then you'll know. So like I say, those letters should be going out. And you guys had approved me doing that already, so. Next thing is I want to let you know, risk management. Risk management that works with our insurance company said that the time capsule, the concrete, I'm sorry, not concrete, brick, thingy down at the park that has a flagpole where we buried the time capsule, that's crumbling, it's dangerous. It either has to be totally rebuilt. I have 2 quotes so far. I'm waiting for 1 more. But so far, the prices on that for just wrapping a mesh around it and then putting some kind of a stone or facade on it and new caps is running between $5,200 to $5,600. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's going to be coming up, and risk management says that has to be done. We do have some contingency money that Bruce Henninger and John True had left set up. So we're going to try and use that. We might need a little extra. So we'll deal with that when it happens. Also, risk management said at the Katie's Meadow Pavilion that there's one corner of it that's totally crumbled away. And that I was hoping that we could just repair that. I've had 2 different people go down and look at it, and all the concrete's going to have to be pulled up and re-poured. I'm still waiting. I haven't gotten any estimates on that. I got one gave me a price for the labor, but not the concrete itself, and the labor was $2,500. I think Dave told me he got one quote so far and that the concrete was gonna, I think he said, and don't hold me to this, I thought he said it was $2,600. So we're gonna have to deal with that because risk management says we've got to do it. So just wanted to bring, hopefully by service of something to move forward to council, but I just wanted to let everybody know that we're juggling all these things, trying to get those done. Marty, are you with us yet? Are you on mute? I see he's up there twice.
He's not muted, but I can't hear him. I don't know if this is a phone or
I mean, Martin and Marty, so.
I know.
Hey, Marty.
Well, if it's an older computer like mine, I have to have a microphone plugged in.
One says Marty and one says Martin.
He can at least call in with his cell
Still
phone.
trying to get in?
Yeah.
We can't hear you. Are you on? Michelle says you're not on mute. Is your volume up? Okay, let me ask. I'm sorry. I can hear you, yeah. No, can't hear you on the computer. What is your browser? Okay, hold on just a second. He says he can hear us, but his browser's telling him he doesn't have access to his volume, his microphone. How do we want to do this? Do we want to just put him on speakerphone here for him to vote, or how do you want to do it?
You could do that.
Yeah,
I can almost hear him from your phone conversation you're having with him.
yeah, if you put it on speakerphone, go ahead.
Okay, Marty? Yeah. Okay, since you can hear us, we're putting you on speaker, my phone on speaker, so they can hear you when it's time for you to vote. Okay? Okay, is that okay? Marty?
Why don't you have him call in with his cell phone?
Pardon me?
He could just call in with his cell phone. He can keep his computer on like I am right now, because I have a desktop computer. So I'm on, well, technically I'm on twice with the video too, but he could just do the dial-in. You know, just like there should be a dial-in, I think.
Isn't that what Matt does?
No, I access Zoom from my phone, so I have the whole experience on my phone. So I mean, yeah, either one will work, but Mayor, real quick, mute the phone on your end because we're getting the echo.
I'm sorry?
Mute the phone. We can still hear Marty, but the microphone won't. Oh no, then he can't hear us.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be better if
He
you
can
dial.
hear us through his computer. We just can't hear him.
Yeah, there
But
you
if
go.
he,
Yeah,
if
he
he
can
dials,
hear through his computer. He just can't talk through his computer.
So he needs to mute his computer.
No, you need to mute your phone.
Yeah, mute your phone. If you can hear us through the computer, mute the phone. And you can still hear us.
That way, Mayor, you just can't talk to him without through the computer.
let him know at the bottom of the email, it says dial by your location. And there, he could dial, there's a few numbers, and then there's the meeting ID and the passcode. And that'll allow him to dial in. Just you know, he can even hear it from that too and talk.
I could just open a window and Marty could yell and we could hear him. I mean.
He could have walked up to Village Hall and sat with the mayor.
We could,
Mayor, you're on
Now
mute
she's muted.
Okay. So I'm going to give you the village administrator report and the mayor's report, and I'll try and do this quickly. Okay. We've continued to work with Portage County Water Resources about the billing and the meter install. Mary Ann attended the Navigating Grants webinar and found it was useful on grant writing and finding grants. We've ordered the playground equipment for Bookert Park Phase 2. And so that was ordered on March 1st. We turned in the paddling enhancement grant. We should hear from that by sometime in June. As you are all aware, we had 2 water main breaks right before the service meeting, and we had to send out the AMG alerts to let everybody know because the county's system to notify people wasn't working. We completed a variance for Baker's down at the Napa store. Worked on the budget, and I met with Jenny, and we came fairly close to everything. Pretty comfortable with it. I still have a few questions. I'm sure she does too, and we still have to go over the chief's budget. Finished valuations, and I'll be submitting raises next week. Answered residents' questions on zoning about the Dollar General. Mary Ann has started doing a spreadsheet to organize vehicle maintenance. Dollar General, we did a replat for them, and also for Magines, that property next to them where Magines lived has sold, and so they needed a replat. Sent out 6 letters to residents regarding zoning and maintenance issues. Harner Plumbing is finally done doing the touchless toilets and faucets here in the building. That was in the COVID money. Beth Mattis from the EPA had called about paperwork for the boil alert, and we had to remind her that the county has taken over the system. She also inquired about what was going on with the reservoir, and we advised her that the county would be taking that part over. And I let her know that, because she said, well, she suggested to the county that they put a tower up instead of a tank. And I let her know that the residents wanted a tank, not a tower. We'll see how that goes. We received our water bills for the village buildings here in the village. They were incorrect. Today I sent Jenny an email with the changes on those. And we have the softball field, Katie's Meadows, and the North Ball field. Those bills are going away because they're letting us hook up those that Katie's Meadows for the Potato Festival with the lodge. And then we'll just have that bill. We'll have one for Village Hall. one for the service garage for just water, and one for the cemetery for just water. So we have those. Let's see. Michelle and I had a Zoom meeting with Ohio Edison, that Lori Rader, regarding the telephone poles. And apparently Rootstown is also under the gun on this. And what Rootstown is doing is the Lions, excuse me, the Lions Club in Rootstown is signing all of the paperwork for this insurance and everything in order for them to hang flags and such on their poles. So I wanted to get council's opinion whether or not I should contact the American Legion and the DMRC to see if one of them are willing to sign the paperwork in order to allow us to have the flags and such on our poles this year. I'm going to include Crestwood High School in it, but probably because they are a government entity, so to speak, they are probably also not allowed to sign this because of that indemnification. So that's why the hanging baskets are on hold at this time. So if you guys have no problem with us having a meeting with the American Legion, the school, and DMRC to see if they would be willing to sign that so we can move forward on this.
What does this do, Linda? Having them sign it?
It puts the liability on them in case anything happens. They would have to have the insurance. Is that not correct, Michelle?
That's right. They'd be the contracting responsible party for having insurance and seeing that that Ohio Edison was protected in the event something went wrong. They can legally sign an indemnification clause where we can't.
Okay.
DMRC.
DMRC could? Is that what you said? Was that your dog barking? Well, Linda, I think that's your call. I mean,
I have no problem with talking to them about it. If you guys, we would probably have Lori in on the conversation, so we make sure that it's all explained.
Do it. Just go ahead and do it.
yeah, we can't go a summer without baskets and flags.
Right. I mean, if they say no, they say no. I mean, that's,
Right.
Right,
that's
Right.
fine.
right.
Michelle, do I need a motion to move forward on that or just a motion when we come back? Okay. And met with the cemetery board, which you've already done that. Wanted to let everybody know, I was sad to hear Ellie Stom has submitted her resignation from the Landmark Committee on March 13th. So we'll be looking for someone else for the Landmark Commission. And then I received a call from Roger Hawkins. And Roger Hawkins is calling about his little cup curb that he still wants to have done. And I reminded him that he had told John True that he knew someone that could do it. And he was supposed to have him call John. I could not find anything in John's emails where we've ever received a number or this gentleman has ever reached out to us to do that. So just letting you guys know that that's still kind of hanging there. In fact, I may speak with Jean to see if when we reach that point on High Street, if maybe when their paving people are out, maybe they can address the problem there and see what that's going to cost.
Well, we have
I heard a number of $6,800 to do that.
I'm sorry, Ben?
I said, I heard a number of $6,800 to do what Roger wants.
I've never heard a dollar amount, so.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I think we should, when they're here doing Prospect, Mayor, I think we should maybe have them look at it too. They're right here,
Okay.
Are we gonna have Todd, did Todd Lamb look at it once?
Yes, he doesn't have the equipment to do it.
Okay, all right.
Well, I just want to let you know that that has come up again. And Roger did tell me he was going to reach out to the his gentleman again. He didn't offer to give me the name. So,
Okay.
okay. Moving on to what Service has been doing. We have started doing, apparently they did them before. I don't know if they did them as extensively as Mary Ann's been doing them. Work orders for every job that they do. So we can show you guys how much they're getting done. And they painted council chambers and put up the pictures. They fixed the light in the hallway. They were plowing and salting. They restocked the nuts and bolts at the service garage. They repaired a utility sink at the shop. They changed the oil in the Ford F-350, painted the west wall in the service garage. Dave and I met and had talked about what streets need to be addressed besides Canada Road this year. And we had tossed out some ideas at Service about which roads besides Canada, and Service had recommended that we only do 1,600 feet of Canada Road this year. So we have that. I met with the electrician at the Potato Festival building and talked to Dave about it. And we had the Potato Festival remove a 1-inch gas line that they had. It was a flexible one, I guess you would call it. It was coiled up that had an end on it that they must have been using the gas from in the building to run one of their booths so that it had gas for something. I can only speculate on what it was for, so I'm not going to say. And then someone had also direct wired one of those orange extension cords into the electrical box. We have since had them remove both of those things because they could both be safety hazards. Dave told me that the lights at the basketball court aren't working, and he had put in new bulbs and those little eyes. They're still not working, so we're contacting Rapid Electric to come and see if they can figure out what's wrong and maybe just put these LED lights in there. Service department installed the meters at the service garage and the lodge. And the 2 ball field water lines have been disconnected and capped off as of March 10th. The service department has taken pictures and logged all the numbers on all the Ohio Edison poles. And we have sent those to Ohio Edison. In fact, they were out today looking at some of the poles. So since they have to come out and do that, Service has also put 2 no parking signs behind the police department. They put 2 handicap signs on the south side of the festival building. They repaired Spizak's storm water sewer issue up on Ambler Lane. They've replaced the stairs in the service garage. They've been coal patching. They pulled that meter that was at the east side of fire hydrant, I'm sorry, at the east end of the Buckeye property, since it was not working anyhow because it's not connected to anything. And then they've started some of the little projects down at the park that are risk management related, as far as they were fluffing up and they added some mulch underneath the merry-go-round. So they are starting to do the work on that. And that's the end of my report. The next item is Matt and I interviewed 2 applicants, and you have them both. One was Mary Ann Fabian and Tiffany Phillips for the village administrator position. And after Matt and I talked, My recommendation to council is to offer the position to Mary Ann. So could I have a motion to approach Mary Ann and offer her the job?
I will make that motion.
I
I'll
will second.
second.
the motion.
Who seconded?
I did, Matt.
Okay, Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
No,
Heather,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty.
Quite an echo.
Well, thank you for that. So moving on, Michelle, are there any citizens?
I have no messages from anyone at this time.
Okay, Jenny, financial reports, please.
I heard on the news this morning that the delays, the pandemic delays that were related to renewing your license plates is going to be expiring. So I'm hoping that that means we're going to start seeing some of the license tax money that we didn't get last year, which was close to $50,000. And I
That'd
also,
be nice, wouldn't it?
yes, I also heard that we might be getting some stimulus money. I guess the county is getting some and we might get some of that. And I don't know yet what kind of restrictions are going to be on that. So, it's possible that we might want to use that for that equipment that Dave needed. I don't know. I don't know how much money or anything that we can use it for, but we can start thinking about that a little bit. Our audit is wrapping up. I had a conversation with her. I told her that council typically does want to do an audit exit meeting. And she thought maybe we could meet right before the April council meeting, like we did for our last audit. She said it won't take long. I think last time we took half an hour maybe. So we could think about that. And if it's not going to work for that day, then we can pick another day around that time. But she's just about finished. She's waiting on a couple of things. So the financial reports, our funds are stable. Revenues totaled about 104,000. We had a lot of income tax, and expenses were about 78,800. And the expenses are pretty standard. That's kind of a normal month. We're slightly under on revenues still. Appropriations are looking good. We had one adjustment on the bank rec for 2 cents. It was a typo. And the last thing is you approved checks 46366 through 46401. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, then I'm happy to answer them.
I just wanted to add, Jenny, if anybody didn't read, I think it was in Friday's paper, because the county's supposed to get $31.5 million that has to be split between the communities. How they're going to split it, I really don't know. But yeah, because some of the mayors were suggesting everybody going to regional water and sewer, I think was one of them. There was a variety of comments in there. So if nobody else has any other comments on Jenny's financial report, motion to accept the financial report.
so moved.
Excuse me. So moved.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty. Thank you.
Motion to, I'm sorry. I don't have any correspondence per se.
I don't either.
Motion to approve the bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution.
so moved.
I'll second.
Before Jenny, you take the vote, do you need to add a dollar amount on to pay for the county water bills?
I think that we're authorized to pay that just like
Okay.
we would electric and telephone. Don't you think, Michelle?
Yeah, that's right. That would come under routine utilities, which are already approved.
So
Okay,
once we iron out the exact amount and you agree with it, then we can just pay that amount.
Okay,
All
So
right,
I'm
Matt,
go ahead.
Matt,
Yes, but yep.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Marty,
Marty?
Tammy.
Yes.
You're having fun with that, aren't you, Linda?
Okay, and everybody received a copy of the Middlefield Visa invoices?
Yes.
I don't think we need a motion to approve that. Okay, moving on. Ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance authorizing renewal of an agreement of the Potato Festival, Manaway Potato Festival, setting forth conditions for the use of the old water plant at Bookert Park, open for discussion.
Before we vote on this, they did everything you asked, right?
Yes, they have.
Okay. I mean, so the electrician that you had there is happy and Dave's happy. I mean, they've taken care of whatever you ask them to do. And
Yes.
okay, if so, I will make a motion to approve.
If you,
second,
is there any other discussion? Any?
I had a couple of possible suggestions to add to the agreement if you would like to go over them. Let me pull them up here. Michelle, you kind of thought maybe they'd be under section 3. Is that it? I don't know if you kind of want to go over what the wording was. Like no additional utility connections, so that to prevent something like what we found recently from happening again. I was just thinking of maybe putting in some wording regarding that. Premises should be maintained, organized, no clutter, keeping electrical panels clear, that kind of stuff.
Heather, can you share do you have that language in front of you? Can you share your screen?
Yeah. Let me see. How do I share?
Heather and I had kind of worked on a few things back and forth, but since I can't make amendments, I thought I would let Heather run with this one.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Do you need me to read this so everybody hears it?
Can Marty see it?
Marty, can you read this on your screen? I think those suggestions are pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think they're, I was gonna say, I have to go back and read the verbiage on the previous agreement, but I like the no cylinders or tanks. I think that one's important.
I like the no additional utility connection.
Yeah, the no additional utility connections is important. I think these are valid and important. They should be on there.
motion to
In the
amend,
inventory, as far as that goes, it's just out of merely, knowing there's nothing hazardous in there,
Well, it also means nothing can get added after 30 days either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way, if you guys want to add those 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, you could make a motion to do that, and then we can table doing our third vote until next month, so everybody has a chance to read it one more time. Would that be the proper way to do this, Michelle?
You can amend it and pass it tonight if everyone's comfortable, or you can amend it and table it and just give everybody another chance. It's up to council.
I believe I'll make a motion to amend now. It is what it is, and I agree with it.
Yeah, me too. I'll second that if everybody's good with it.
I'm good with it.
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes. Yeah.
And you say you want to go ahead and do third reading tonight, or you want to wait till next month?
let's go ahead and approve it now. We're just amended. Let's just approve it as amended.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, if I could have a motion to approve with the amendments that are on our screen at this time.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, moving on to resolution 2021-19, a resolution appointing Jenny August, Manaway Village Clerk Treasurer, as the designee to attend mandated training related to the administration of the Village of Manaway's public records policy on behalf of the elected officials of the Village of Manaway. This is first reading. Jenny, do you need this passed to attend?
No, I go almost every year, but it was an audit issue that none of our council people have gone. Paula is the only one that attended. And so if council doesn't want to go, they're allowed to designate somebody to go on their behalf. And a lot of times you can't go because a lot of you work during the day. So that's why this is in place. And Michelle is going to put it on the appointment list for every January. So maybe if somebody else wants to go, they can be the designee. And even if I go, you can still go.
I have been there before. But I don't want to be the designee. I let Jenny do it.
So we can go 3 readings on this one then?
Actually, I would recommend passing it tonight since we're right in the middle of our audit and the auditors have requested it. I think it would make them feel more comfortable to know that we had this in place now.
I agree.
If you suspended the rules now and passed it, that
Ben,
would
you
be
want
on
to
the
make a
record.
motion to suspend the rules, please?
So moved.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes,
Motion to approve?
so moved.
Second.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
Jenny, can you do me a favor and send me the information for this? Because I am interested. I don't want to be the designee this year, but I am interested in the knowledge and attending.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 2021-20, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and the clerk treasurer to advertise bids for the residential curbside rubbish and recycling services for the Village of Manaway. This is first reading. Is there any discussion tonight? Okay, we'll move on. Excuse me. Ordinance 2021-21, an ordinance naming Michelle Stuck, attorney at law, as the solicitor of the Village of Manaway and fixing her compensation for the period of May 1st, 2021 to April 30th, 2023, and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion.
Can I ask why we are declaring an emergency? Why we have to do that, or?
Because our contract runs out at the end of April.
Usually this gets passed in April when it would be an emergency, and we've taken it up a month early, so it actually doesn't have to be an emergency if you pass it tonight.
But it has to be in April.
It would have to be in April. And even if you do pass it tonight and it doesn't go into effect, then the emergency language is not of any effect, basically.
So do you want to just go first reading and suspend the rules next month?
If we're gonna suspend the rules next month, let's just suspend them now and get it over with.
I'm with Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, just why?
Okay, that sounds like Ben was the first and Scott was the second.
You got it. That'll work.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
so moved.
Second.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Thank you all.
I was going to ask
Thank
if we could change the verbiage to say solicitor for life.
Then we don't have to pass it anymore.
Yeah, the statute only lets you do it for 2 years at a time, I'm afraid.
She already gave us her retirement date.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to subvert that.
He's thanking us now. Wait until we get hammered with the flags on the pole.
Trying to keep you out of trouble, kids.
Okay, that's what we want. Resolution 2021-22, a resolution of the Village of Manaway, Ohio, authorizing the adoption of the Portage County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. Open for discussion.
This just came up like Friday, and I'm sure nobody's had a chance to read all hundreds of pages that are present on Portage County's website. So there's no need to pass it tonight. You might want to take time to look at that. It's up to you, but this is brand new.
let's move on.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, moving to department heads. Chief Urso.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, everybody. We did have a safety meeting on March 3rd. We called the meeting to order at 6:01. We did table to elect a chairperson. We will do that in April. We accepted the minutes. We went over the appropriation status, the vendors and the SRO report. Under old business, we discussed the Prospect Street parking issue, personnel status. Then we received 8 new Marks portables. They're getting programmed. We had 1 new Marks mobile on an EMA grant, the Village Hall access. And then under new business, Harner Plumbing, at the time we had the meeting, was in the process of installing touch-free fixtures, which is complete. We were awarded 1 MDT on an OCJS grant. And a resident had approached me about the speed limit again on High Street, and I explained, bless you, I explained that, that the county sets that the village doesn't. Nothing had to come to council, nothing to finance, nothing to parks, nothing to service committee. Items tabled was the elected chairperson. We had no executive session. Our next meeting will be on April 7th. And we made a motion to adjourn, and we adjourned at 6:09 PM. Other than that, that's all that I have.
Thank you.
Chief, real quick, just a couple of questions, because I always look at the monthly report and I see a couple of things that catch my eye. And I just like to ask about them. What's a DAV?
That's a disabled vehicle.
Okay, disabled vehicle. And then 5 welfare checks in the past month.
Yeah. Welfare check can be anything from, hey, we haven't seen our neighbor in a while. Can you go do a knock and greet? Sometimes it's a concerned relative, and there may be some other underlying diagnoses that they want us to go and check on somebody. And sometimes it's nothing, and then sometimes we have to get a little more involved. But
Okay.
that's not uncommon. We have a lot of elderly and a lot of residents in the village that their relatives are out of town. And if they don't answer their phone or a text within a certain amount of time, they call and we just go check and make sure everything's okay.
Oh, sure. That's cool. No, it was just one all of last year and 5 in the past month. So that caught my eye, you know. And then psychiatric situation. What's the definition of that?
That could be any kind of a mental illness.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Understood. Very good. Thank you.
Nothing else?
Anything else?
Okay, village administrator report. Think I gave you guys everything I got tonight. So we'll move on to Gene Arders, CT Consultants, the village engineer.
Hello, council members. I will just go with the same thing the mayor just said. She addressed everything at the beginning. So I issued our letter and that is it.
Jean,
Any questions?
Jean, did you take care of breakaway excursion people in Dollar General? Was that an issue or?
It was an issue. Believe it or not, I actually thought that, you know, residents say they're 2 foot over and it's like, it's not. And it was actually more like 6, 7 feet over on their property.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And, you know, it's a straight line for the property line. And it's not like, you know, you look down and you go, wow, it's kind of a straight line, but it's diagonal. I mean, it literally went like this and then went like, it was, I don't even know what the contractor was thinking. But again, the homeowners were fantastic. I mean, they were super understanding once I explained everything. And so it was worked out that Dollar General was obviously going to repair that. They were going to move their everything back over ultimately onto Dollar General's property. But I had recommended, well, it gave the option, and of course, my recommendation to the homeowners that it just stay as it is now. They've already, you know, taken out some of the dirt. They've done the disturbance, put the silt fence on their property. I said, if they were to try to move it now, the contractor would end up trying to do the seeding and the mulching, all that stuff, and it won't look as nice as the landscaper that Dollar General will ultimately hire. So the mayor and I talked to Dollar General, well, the developer, and you know, she apologized, of course, and she said definitely. So I did send an email out to the mayor and Casey, you know, the developer, and the civil engineer as well, so he knows.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Gene? Okay, moving on to committees. Scott Weaver for service and planning.
Well, Linda, I think I'll just go with Jean. You covered it all. You covered everything. We did, there was one thing I wanted to bring up in service, we wanted to bring to council, is that everyone knows we're going to start the tail end of West Prospect this year, pretty soon. They've already staked it out. We're looking at Franklin Street. We discussed Franklin Street, we discussed East Prospect in service. So we want everyone to kind of think about that, but for our next major event, street event, but Franklin Street seems to be a biggie, and we would have to apply for a Ohio Public Works Commission grant or funding, I'm sorry. And it wouldn't come about until, what was it, Mayor, 2022?
Correct.
Right? But we need to start thinking about it and working on it now, because it would be, there's a lot of storm sewer work. And Ben, as well as, I mean, you know that that storm sewer, we would have to tackle that storm sewer behind Tom Aldridge, you know, coming down to West Prospect. We'd have to do all that. So that's one that we need to think about. And Matt brought up East Prospect, which is in, you know, it's becoming in pretty bad shape too. So we need to think about that one. As far as planning, Mayor covered everything else in service. The risk management is a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff down at the park, but the guys are already working on it. And between the mayor and the mayor's got a handle on almost all of it. Her and Mary Ann have been tackling it with Dave. So planning, we did the replat for Maginy's property, which we were just discussing with Gene. In case nobody knows, that's going to be the new breakaway excursions down at Maginy's. So that was not a big deal. That seemed to be more, I think what Michelle said was that was more for tax map purposes, right? It was more for the county than it was for anything. So it was more like,
Exactly.
but the old Middlefield Bank, we've discussed that a little bit more. John Clark has been handling a lot of that for us, the phone calls, but the building's up for sale and somebody's even looking at it. So we're going to kind of put that on the back burner. And next month, when the weather breaks, we're going to start reviewing sidewalks. So if anybody has any sidewalks on their street they need us to come and look at, we want to start compiling a list of the sidewalks we need to get repaired. And then we had a ton of maintenance issues in the village that the mayor and Mary Ann sent out letters that started to tackle. So that was about it.
God, I have one thing to add to both.
Okay.
Also at service, we talked about the residential electric aggregate that will be receiving a grant of approximately $2,700 a year. And we were discussing if we should, how we should earmark that. Do we want to put it in a line item, or however Jenny has to handle that, so that it gets used maybe for, one of the suggestions was to start replacing all of our lights with LED lights within all of our government buildings, or if
Yes.
somebody has another idea. So let's be thinking about that. And you were going to bring that up here at service.
Yep.
At council, for everybody to think about on that. And then at planning, we had been talking about changing our meeting to a different night. And the chairperson recommended that since safety is on the first Wednesday of the month, and it's at 6 o'clock, and they usually only last about a half hour or 10 minutes. Would we like to change our planning meeting to the first Wednesday of the month at 6:30? So that
I
would
don't
be for
remember
you,
why were we doing that?
to accommodate everybody's evenings.
Okay. I forgot that.
Yeah. So if you intend, Chairperson Clark is fine with Wednesdays at 6:30. I'm fine with it. If the two of you are fine with it, then we can have Jenny put it in the paper that we're changing the meeting.
I'm good with it.
That's all you got to do. You don't need a motion or anything. Just
I know. Tammy, are you fine with that, or is
Yeah,
that?
I don't have any conflicts. That's fine.
You're okay?
Jenny, if you would put that in the paper, then that we're changing the planning meetings to the first Wednesday.
Sure.
Thank you.
Tammy, are you on safety?
I'm the alternate on safety. It's Heather's.
Okay. Oh, Heather's on safety. Okay. Okay.
Don't forget to change the website too.
I was writing it down as we were speaking.
So Mayor, do we want to do that starting next month?
Yes. So that just means we'll have service one night, planning the next, and then you guys don't have a meeting the following Tuesday.
Right, okay.
Okay, anything else for planning or service? Any questions? Okay, Marty, safety, parks and shade tree. You want me to do this for you, Marty? Okay, Joe already did safety. Parks and Shade Tree are having their first meeting tomorrow night at 6:30. Their packets are sent out and they're meeting in person, social distancing and masks. And the paperwork's been printed off and setting out there, doing its thing to be de-germed for everybody for tomorrow. Is that good, Marty?
Thank you.
Okay, cemetery, you know that we had passed, you guys approved sending the stuff to the trust company or the cemetery trust. I will make sure you each get copies of the final draft and everything tomorrow. I won't be in until about 11 tomorrow because I'm going up to Middlefield in the morning about our Mantua Village sign that's usually out here at the traffic light, by the traffic light, to meet with a sign person to see what it would cost to replace that. Dave took it down to freshen it up and apparently it's rotted. So we're gonna start getting some quotes on getting that done. Board of Zoning Appeals, Mantua Vet Clinic is still trying to decide if they're going to move forward on their project or not. We did receive an application today for another mural. So it's going to have to go to the BZA as soon as they get all the proper paperwork on that. And
Mayor, can I interrupt you for a second? I was at the DMRC meeting on Friday and they brought up those murals and I brought up our concerns about that we had in planning about maintenance, that they need to have a maintenance plan. So I did bring up that concern that we had talked about.
okay. Yeah, because from what I hear, they're going to be a perspective of putting one on the east side of Manaline on the park side is one that I heard. I heard that there were rumblings about, and Manaline has approved it to allow them. I heard that Sudger Duds had something in the works. And the other place I heard was the Jim Mockney building on Prospect Street. I heard that there was something there. And then the chilling station is the one that is going to be doing that one. There was one concern that Chairman Clark brought up is because I can't remember what the wording on it was, but it had an ice cream cone, so it was advertising. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look at the the zoning book to see if that's even allowable. Because I thought it was, you weren't allowed to advertise, but maybe because it's his own business, I don't know. We've got to look at it. And I didn't have time to do that today, so.
And they only talked about that one. They didn't talk about any of the other ones. So that's the only one.
I've just seen in the past minutes where Manline is allowing them to put something on, and so. Okay, that's all I got there. Tammy, for finance.
Yes. All right. We went over the legislation. We went over tonight. We talked about the public record request form that's a little outdated and updating that. We discussed council pay, and now's the time to talk about council pay and if it should be raised before the election. And finance, we kind of voted that down, that none of us are doing this for the pay. We can certainly review that if anybody wants to, but we kind of went, nobody's doing this for the money. We started on talking about the 2020 budget, and Jenny and the mayor were going to get together. So we may have to have a meeting about that later. So, and we talked about Michelle's raise. We went over that and she did get a raise, and that was passed tonight. And the other thing we tabled was hourly pay for service workers or, all of, well, and police force. Is it overtime after 8 hours or overtime after 40 hours? And it's overtime after 40 hours now on the books. And if that wanted to be changed, it affects a lot of things down the line. So we're going to table that for a little while and think about it. And that's sort of all we went over.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions for Tammy? Ben, anything for regional planning?
No, there's nothing for regional planning. Everybody else in the county is doing stuff, but we had nothing going on.
Okay. New or other business to bring up the OPWC funding if we decide that we want to apply for West Franklin Street. That application, pre-application, I guess it's called, Jean, is due, I think, the end of May. So council would probably have to make a decision next month to give Jean a chance to come up with a cost estimate. So just to let everybody know that. Can you do it in a month, Jean, if we give it to you next month?
I'll go with a yes on that, even though I have no clue what it is, but yes, I will get it done.
At service, it was discussed either just going as far as
Elm.
Oak Street, but we prefer to try and get down to Elm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any feedback on that we can talk about now, or you just want to think about it and look at it?
No, I was the one that was there when they ran that water line down it and did the patch on it. From where they're talking about down to Elm Street probably does need work.
Okay.
Is there any special grants for the stormwater? I mean, or does that go in with the road?
That would be OPWC would be for this the stormwater and the paving.
Okay.
I don't know if because there's so much flooding up in that area that might give us some more points. We'll have to have Jean look at that so we get our best points. I did reach out also, changing lanes a little bit, to Christina Wagner from ODOT about East Prospect. I think it was in 2015 we had discussed with them, with ODOT, about funding kind of like we did at Orchard Street for West Prospect Street, doing the storm sewers there and stuff. Again, that would be a 50-50 split. Or we could also look for CDBG monies for that. And since we have our low to moderate income survey already done in that area, we might be eligible for some funding. So that might be something to address more at service next month and get Jean on board to have two projects to work on, because CDBG money is normally, I know nothing is free, but it's freer than most of it usually doesn't have a match. So
CDBG, what's that stand for?
Community Development Block Grant.
Okay.
so that, I mean,
I
that's
did it for about 20 years.
but I mean, when was it that it was 2013, wasn't it, Ben, that we did Orchard Street? And it's been holding up very well. And that was all.
That's about right. It's right about that time. Yeah. Yeah, that's about right. That's real close.
I mean, and that's
It
been
might be
holding
a
up
year or
pretty
two,
good.
it might be a year off one way or the other, but it was right there. And it's held up. It's held up good.
Especially with all that truck
A
traffic.
lot of times the road heck hold up due to the amount of traffic it has on it, the traffic load. They got like 3 different paving things, light, medium, and heavy. And the traffic load on a road will depend on a lot how much it holds up. And there's not a lot of traffic on Orchard Street.
Hey, Linda, in regards to East Prospect, do you think there might be anything with the Clean Water Act or EPA or any grants because of the river runoff there, the water runoff into the river being on that hill?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not going to hurt. We can check out some different options. And
I mean,
see.
just, you know,
I don't think so, but
okay. I'm just spitballing. I mean, that's, you know, part of when you think about it, it's part of the Akron water plant. It's running in the Rockwell, you know, so, okay.
okay. Any new or other business anybody has to talk about?
Mayor, if I may,
Okay.
just, you were talking about West Prospect Street. They did flag it. The contractor, I talked to him yesterday. So they're bringing equipment in all this week. They were cutting yesterday, and we'll put it on our Facebook page, but tentatively they're looking at starting to dig next week on Monday. So they're gonna put road flow signs through traffic up on that area, but they said that they would keep it open for the residents. So just heads up on that.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else,
I just have one
Mayor,
quick comment.
wait,
One more quick. I'm sorry.
go
What?
ahead. Go ahead, Matt, and then I'll get you Tammy.
No, there's one quick comment. Just as, I don't know if everybody's noticed that, like the lockdowns and the quarantines and things like that are slowly being lifted around the country. And I'd like for everybody to kind of keep a look towards the near future for, you know, maybe meeting again in person for these meetings here, which would be something that I'd be looking forward to. So just wanted to put that out there as something to be prepared for the future there. So hopefully we'll be able to meet her in person shortly.
Yeah, but then I got to start getting dressed because I just got a t-shirt and shorts on.
You got shorts on.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm loving this stuff.
So this is driving me crazy. I cannot wait to not have these.
we're running out of computers at our household.
Well,
But
I say we wait until everyone is, or almost all of us are vaccinated anyway. you know,
yes,
Yeah,
If you're going to get one. But
Just something to think about.
but
Yeah.
Mayor, if I could, I was thinking since you mentioned the flagpole at the park and the pavilion, maybe that might be something we could possibly look at, that Lowe's 100 Hometown Grant opportunity.
oh,
And well, I did speak with, because Jeff Benner is one of the people, and Dan Wislowski, I know I'm not saying his name right. He works for Mantua Township, but does concrete on the side. They're both working on quotes for me. And when Jeff and I were talking today, we were thinking, you know, when that was built back in the day, the Crestwood JCs had donated that pavilion and the concrete to it. And so maybe if we just have to buy the concrete, maybe we can find volunteers to help spread it if we have enough concrete people around that would be willing to do it. I would personally pitch in to feed them lunch, you know, to do that. So Jeff is going to be checking with some people, and I'm going to check with some people that I know and
Okay.
see what we can do. But you know, any funding that we can do, because I see that changing lanes again. I see Dave has already made the repair down at the service garage of that wood on that one building that was missing. So, and like I say, Dave has been starting, you know, to get things rolling, and the parts that we need to repair the pieces of playground equipment that have to be done and stuff, and then sanding and spray painting the things that are rusty. So we probably have a good couple weeks of work for them to do down there. So, and then he's gonna start, as soon as he gets that all done, then we have storm sewers that need addressed, so. Cleaned and some of them repaired, so.
When are
Mayor, you
we-
may want to reach out to Maplewood Career Center too. I believe they have a program down there that involves concrete. Sometimes those kids need projects to help work on as far as labor. So there may be some opportunities down at Maplewood Career Center.
Good idea, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Joe.
I'll put the new village administrator on there.
So,
Yeah, they have I think they have a masonry class now, don't they? Yeah.
Back when I was in, it was called building trades and it was carpentry, masonry, electric and plumbing. But I don't know, it's maybe home maintenance program or something now, but I believe it involves the concrete part of it.
Okay. Yeah, when I was there, it was just carpentry. That was it.
And I do think, Michelle, we'll have paperwork to fill out, right? On the legislation that we had passed for the village administrator, I thought that there was place for signature and that kind of thing on that legislation last month, or am I remembering incorrectly?
The person who's taking the position has to sign a couple of places, just acknowledging the terms of the job description.
Okay. That's what I couldn't remember. I just want to make sure I didn't forget something. So I'll get that from Jenny when she gets a minute, so. Okay, again, anything else?
Tammy, did you have something?
Huh?
have anything?
Oh, okay.
Marty, you have anything? Marty?
Oh, there's Marty.
There he is.
Now he shows up.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Second from Marty.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes. I was
Heather.
muted, yes.
Yes.
good night.
Good
Good night.
everybody.
Good night,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all stay safe.
You too,
Yes,
Ben.
you too.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Good night, Marty.
See you tomorrow, Marty.
It's a good thing we're meeting in person tomorrow. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he showed up at the last minute, poor Marty. What happened? Oh, no, he's still muted. I muted that because I thought it would stop the feedback.
Huh.
All right.